hometowns. Wow, we've missed everyone. We were gone for a week.
Yeah, so we've got another double whammy this week.
Double whammy. 5 hours of television coming to you in the next, hopefully, under 2 hours.
Yes, hopefully.
We'll try to keep it as brief as possible, but there's a lot to cover. And since there's a lot to cover, let's just get started.
Yeah, let's get started. We don't have time for small talk.
No, let's just get into it. Okay, so we're covering episode 9 and 10. And at the top of episode 9, we can go ahead and just start talking about Kendall, Joe, and Serena. We can just wrap up this whole relationship. And we'll just kind of go by relationships instead of going chronologically because we'll be here for months.
Right, and there's lots of stuff we don't care about.
Exactly. So, Kendall kind of professes her undying love for Joe. Is that kind of what happened? It feels like it was a long time ago.
Yeah, kind of. I think she basically kind of admits that she did come for Joe to the beach and that it's really hard for her to see him with Serena, which I think, I mean, she just kept saying kind of what she had said over and over before, like, this is just really hard for me. This is really hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kendall, we know.
Yeah, she was trying to be cool about it, and she was really trying to, like, give Joe his space and everything, but, like, even if you'd been broken up for 5 years, it's still weird to be in that environment and see your ex hooking up with somebody else.
Right. And Joe, I mean, he was nice about it and, you know, comforting like he always is, but he was kind of just like,
yeah,
sorry.
I know. When he hugged her and was like, I'll always be here for you. Like, oh, he's such a good guy, which is like obviously why Kendall can't get over him because there's nothing to be mad about, you know? So I feel for her, but I also see how he's already moved on and we can root for Serena and also feel bad for Kendall at the same time.
Yes, I agree.
So what do you think about Serena and Joe as a whole? How do you feel about their relationship?
I think that they're really cute together, like the way they interact. But when I still don't see it. Like, I still just like think it looks weird.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I like their relationship. Like, I think they look cute together, but it's just, there's something that I'm like, this is off. I don't know what it is.
I guess, I mean, we've said it many times, like we wouldn't have put them together. But I think now that they're together, they just seem to like really like each other. And I don't know, I think they have really good chemistry. Obviously, I'm a huge Joe fan and I like Serena. And I think Serena handled the whole thing with Kendall super well. So I just think that if there's any couple on the beach that I actually see in real life, it is Serena and Joe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. And I think that we talk about like how well Joe handled everything, but Serena did a great job because I feel like it must have been really difficult to like kind of lean into the relationship with his ex there, you know? Like if you think about if you were with your significant other and their ex is there, you might act a little bit different because it's just awkward, and she had to still be able to explore that relationship with Kendall there at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. And she even said it once Kendall did leave. So Kendall did self-eliminate because she thought it was too hard to be around Joe. And once she did, Serena was like, oh, finally, like I can, you know, I'm on this beach with this guy I really like and his ex isn't here. So now we can kind of breathe. And I thought like, I like felt that for her. And I also thought it was cool that she didn't make a big deal about it when Kendall was there, but she expressed the relief when Kendall left. So like obviously those feelings were there the whole time, but she kept it cool and like didn't make Kendall feel bad and didn't make Joe feel bad, at least from what we saw. So I thought that was really cool of her. I'm not sure I would have handled it that way.
Yeah. But I guess you kind of have to because everybody's like friends with everybody. So it would probably be annoying if Serena was going around being like, oh, I just wish Kendall wasn't here or something.
Yeah.
Because probably Kendall's friends would be like, well, that's kind of rude.
True.
You know, I don't know.
Yeah, it's true. Very true. I will say it was kind of messed up for producers to edit in scenes of Joe and Serena kissing while Kendall was sobbing in the car. That was real messed up.
Super mean.
That was really mean. Producers are feisty this season.
They are. They
with their
are
editing,
on something, I think. They're on
They're
one,
like, you don't mess with us. They're trying to send a signal to people saying, don't circumvent the system. Like, don't mess with us. We are the powers that be. And they will drag you through the mud.
They will.
They want you to think a certain way.
We've never seen so many fan favorites fall from grace so harshly ever.
God, they're all...
And yeah, I felt so bad for Kendall during that montage. I was like, this is just mean. Like,
I know.
We don't have to show Joe and Serena super happy, lovey-dovey while Kendall's crying about their relationship.
Yeah. And I feel like they were trying to make Kendall look crazy, which I don't think she was. Like, I think she was just being honest about her feelings and she was trying to be cool about it, but then eventually couldn't. But I think they were trying to give her like the crazy edit, and that's not cool.
Yeah, and I think it's also normal, like, even if maybe she really did think she was over Joe before she came or whatever, because they've been broken up for, what, a year?
2 years or something.
But then it's normal to be in the same place that you met that person and, like, memories come back and for you to think you feel something that maybe you don't. But, you know, she doesn't have, they're all there on the beach together. She doesn't have anybody there. He has somebody. They don't have their phones. They don't have anything to do. So all she's doing is probably thinking about her last experience there, which was only with him.
Right.
And so it would be easy to fall into the trap of like, oh, I think I still have feelings for you, even if once she's out of that situation, she doesn't, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess the only person she like kind of had was Ivan, but they just didn't seem to have that big of a connection.
Any chemistry.
No, I don't.
Not that we saw.
So. Speaking of Ivan, let's just get into Ivan's, I guess, fall from grace. But starting from like, okay, so Ivan, obviously, he lost Kendall to her leaving.
He's had a rough go in Paradise.
Kind of had a rough go. Started with Jasenia. Jasenia left him for Chris. Then moved on to... Was there anybody between Jasenia and Kendall? I don't remember.
I don't think so. I mean, maybe somebody gave him a rose, but it wasn't like a romantic rose.
Right. So then with Kendall, that didn't work. She was still in love with Joe, so she left. And then he moves on to... Wait, I'm blanking. There's somebody... Is it just Chelsea then? Yeah, because then he was just like... Their new rose ceremony was coming up. He's panicking. And then we learn all of these things.
Okay, so first Ivan. Let's talk about the Chelsea thing and how that came about.
Yeah, that was crazy.
So he goes up and he says, do you want to talk? And she said, yeah. But she said, yeah, like very... eagerly, kind of, like she did want to. She's like,
she wasn't hesitant. Yeah,
no. And so they went to go talk, which ended obviously in them making out, which was interesting to me because
she was into it.
She was very into it, and it was surprising because I thought, well, Ivan's been kind of single this whole time. Like if you were into Ivan,
yeah,
you have had plenty of chances, you know?
And and I thought it was really weird because when they were making out, I was actually like, oh, like I actually do kind of see the chemistry between them in a way that I hadn't seen it between her and Aaron, and in a way that I hadn't seen it between Ivan and anyone else. So I actually was like, oh my gosh, this could be cool. But it did not go well after that because Aaron apparently thinks he is the keeper of Chelsea and her lips and what they do, which I did not like. I didn't like that he thought that it was his rose that Chelsea was going to give out, and that it was Ivan trying to steal his rose, which, like, I mean, as we learn, perhaps that was the motivation. But there's a chance. No, I think it's pretty clear that was the motivation to, like, stick around.
Yeah,
right?
It is clear that it's the motivation to stick around, but it doesn't
Chelsea's mean that it was
rose.
An empty kiss. Yeah.
And if she wanted to give it to him, she should have been able to without Aaron throwing a big fit. You know, like him saying, oh, you said you weren't going to go looking for a rose. It's like, well, they did kiss and it did look like they had a connection. So it's not really any of Aaron's business.
Correct.
Regardless of his intentions. I mean, of course, later on, we can talk about it sucks. If that was his only motivation, that's really rude to Chelsea. But
yes,
it's her rose and it's her connections to decide where she wants the rose to go. And I was like, Aaron, why are you throwing a fit? Like, just because he said he's not going to chase a rose doesn't mean that he can't make a new connection.
Yeah. And I think Aaron, okay, I do see where Aaron's frustrations were, but I think the way that he handled it was, like, really aggressive, really, like, he was trying to, like, be top dog or whatever, like, alpha male. And it was just kind of weird because then Ivan kind of puffed up his chest, and it's just like, I get so uncomfortable around male aggression, and it was just really weird to watch these two, like, typically kind of, like, kind, funny guys then, like, just get in each other's faces because they're both insecure when it comes down to it. Like, they just both didn't want to go home. Like, it had nothing to do with Chelsea.
They also neither one of them have a real connection with Chelsea.
Exactly. That's what neither of them actually wanted to be with Chelsea. They just didn't want to leave the beach.
Exactly.
So then they were, like, fighting ego style. And so, yeah. And I guess Chelsea just kind of got lumped in there as the keeper of the rose. But it could have been anybody.
Right.
That's no disrespect to Chelsea, but, like, it could have been anybody that had the rose that either of them were looking for. Yeah, it was really weird. I did feel bad for Aaron when Ivan did lie. And he said, hey, man, no, Chelsea pulled me. But that wasn't true. But that's the information that he gave the other guys, who then continued to gang up on Aaron. So that was really unfair and hard to watch, especially Riley, who I'm sure is kind of, like, intimidating when he gets angry.
But I think Riley likes the drama. Because,
oh my God, he does.
He's always the one. Who were they yelling at? Chris? And he was yelling at Chris. I mean, I think he just likes the drama because it's like, Riley, none of these things really concern you at all.
No.
Like, you're not really in any of the drama because you have your girl and you have, like, had no drama this whole time.
Right. So then he's like, what can I do?
Yeah, he's like, where can I get my screen time? Okay, I'm going to go get in this drama.
Exactly. But the way he handled it was, like, so rude. Like, he, like, wouldn't really let him talk. He was like, no, dude, it's over. Just walk away. Just go ahead. There's the door. There's the staircase. Go walk up the stairs. Go leave. Whatever. It's just like, what the heck? Like, it didn't concern you. B, you don't actually have the correct information. Did he apologize later?
Riley?
Yeah.
No, he just said, I mean, maybe he did, but we didn't see it. But he just said that he was disappointed in Ivan, but he would always have his back because they're bros and stuff like that.
That was so weird in that interview where he was, like, crying. I mean, not that I don't think it's weird to cry, but it was weird that he was like, come on, son, I didn't think you would disappoint me like this. And it's like, why do you think you're everybody's dad, Riley? Like, it was really funny, but it was also just kind of like, are you okay? Like, why are you taking on everybody else's baggage so much?
Yeah. So we find out, after all, that he was lying, that Ivan was lying, and we knew because we had seen the scene before, but that he actually asked Chelsea to talk and was telling everybody that Chelsea asked him. So Chelsea did not like that, understandably. I wouldn't like that either.
Yeah, she was like, and I'll go tell everybody, I don't care.
Yeah. Also, why do we think he did that? Because I'm just wondering, like, it's not like Chelsea went home and he could just tell people whatever and they would never know. Like, Chelsea's still there.
He just panicked. That's and I think he just, in the moment, I don't think he's like a bad guy. Like, I don't think he's like normally shady or like secretive. I just think that in the moment he just kind of gets caught up in this environment and he was stressed and he just didn't really think it through. That's also why I have like some sympathy for him, because I'm like, imagine being on a beach for however many weeks. I think they're like on 10 weeks at that point. And no, probably like 5.
Yeah, I think it's like 4 or 5.
But even so, like, you're with the same people, you don't have a phone, and the entire, like, all of the energy is focused on finding a date and falling in love and getting engaged as soon as possible. And so if there's so much pressure, like, how are you not to crack under that kind of pressure? So I think it just got to him and he made poor decisions.
Yeah, I think he also panicked when it was all these guys like, oh, you talked to Chelsea, and, you know, he just wanted to get the pressure off of him. So he's like, what am I supposed to do if she asked me to talk?
Right.
You know? But, like, she didn't.
She didn't. Yeah, I think he was just trying to save face in the moment, not thinking about later. And then whenever Chelsea did approach to him, he was like, oh, no, that's not what I said. What I said was, what did he, like, he
said
made up
that
another
she
lie.
wanted to talk to him or something. Like, not that she pulled him, but that she wanted to.
But that there was a desire
or
something. And she was like, but that's not what you said. And that's not what you're telling people because you're making me look bad. Like, yeah.
But the thing is, I don't think it makes Chelsea look worse. Because whether or not she pulled Ivan, she's obviously not that into Aaron because she started making out with Ivan.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be one thing if it's a conversation and nothing happens, and then people are like mad at Ivan, like, oh, you tried to take Chelsea or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But
she
they made
reciprocated.
out. Yeah. So it's like she wasn't that into Aaron anyway.
True.
But
it did come out that Ivan really wasn't into Chelsea. He was definitely just trying to stay on the beach because he was hoping Alexa would come down to the beach next after the rose ceremony. And how did he know that? Well, they were in the hotel due to a quote-unquote hurricane.
For one night.
A rainstorm. And I was trying to follow the like series of events that he was telling Wells when they like had their father-son sit down. And he said that there was a producer's phone in his hotel room. He happened to open the screen and saw texts.
No, the screen was open.
Oh, I thought it was like the screen was like this, and like you could like see the things that were happening, but like you could, but
why
on
would
mine like you can't
his
do that.
Room number or her room number.
I guess like it was like text between producers of like, okay, this is everybody's room number. Yeah, what do you think? Because it didn't add up to me either.
It doesn't add up. And listen, they all know who everybody's excited to see on the beach.
Oh, so you
they
think
know that Ivan is excited to see Alexa, and there's nothing going on in the storm, and apparently they don't know if they're going back to the beach. So this producer's like, let me open up the room numbers document on my phone and just set it there. Just leave it, you know?
And then accidentally leave it in the room.
And then accidentally leave it open. And then Ivan's like, oh, look, room numbers. Alexa, I'm bored. I'm not into anybody. I don't even know if we're going back to the beach. And I guess, I don't know what I think the producer wanted, but maybe they didn't get it on camera, or you know, because if they had gotten him on camera leaving his hotel room and, you know, they would have added it in there and it would have been fine. They would have brought her on the beach and we'd be watching them fall in love. Yeah. But because they didn't have footage of it, it's like, it was a no-no.
Right.
Because, like, think about it. He's like, I'm sorry I went around the system, whatever. But every time there's, like, a lead and somebody wants to go see them in their hotel room, it's fine as long as the producers can record it. Or the people can record it. And they set it up. But because of this, I guess maybe the producer was expecting him to see the room number and ask, can I go see Alexa or whatever? But he didn't ask. He just went and saw Alexa.
That makes sense. Yeah, so that does make sense. I wondered, like, how do you leave your phone in a room? Like, I wouldn't leave my phone anywhere, especially if you're, like, trying to keep everything super secretive. Right. And like, I'd be very paranoid about where my phone is. And apparently nobody's supposed to see each other because they had, like, the boys' room with the boys and the girls' room with the girls. And you're just going to leave the room numbers open around cast members? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. Like, that producer's fired. Yeah. I think probably. Or if it was intentional, I don't know.
But still, if it was intentional, it wasn't executed properly.
Correct. Yeah.
I mean, either way, that producer messed up for sure.
Yeah, true. I didn't even really, like, consider that it was, like, completely planned. I was just like, why? Like, did he, like, steal somebody's phone? Like, because he wanted to call somebody and then he happened to see the texts? And then Wells put out this, like, statement to, like, a magazine. Like, I don't remember which magazine. But he was, like, explaining the whole thing, which kind of aligns with your theory because maybe he's, like, trying to hide the producer involvement, like making it seem like Ivan really was the perpetrator, so to speak. Like, he says, okay, the iPhone was left in, I don't know if it's an iPhone. It is, because he said they turned off the facial recognition because of the masks. So then they had it so that text could be seen in full on the lock screen. And it was left in Ivan's room on accident. He was looking to see whose phone it was so that he could return it. He looked on the screen, saw there was a text that said Alexa was in room whatever. He took the opportunity when everyone went to sleep to go to Alexa's room. And then he said there was a producer rooming next to Alexa that heard them talking on the balcony, knew Alexa was supposed to be alone. Then they were clued in that Ivan was in the room, or somebody was in the room. Figured out it was Ivan. Oh, and that the other part of it was that Alexa called the hotel front desk to get a wake-up call for 5 a.m. Which means, like, remind me to send Ivan back to his room at 5 a.m.
Like, slept there.
Yeah.
I just, like, I feel like it doesn't align because he's like, okay, Alexa was one of the people I was looking forward to meeting on the beach. And it's just a coincidence that somebody left their phone, which nobody leaves their phone anywhere. A producer needs their phone also. So it's I'm supposed to believe it's a coincidence that the producer left their phone and at the right moment, someone texted the room number of the person that you want to meet.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And also, which Alexa was already in her room. So why did they need to,
And presumably, normally, on sets, everything is in like a document, like a Google spreadsheet of like, okay, this person's in this room. You're not texting this information back and forth. So if it really was a text, that only makes me believe even more that it was set up intentional, but not properly. Because
they were just hoping for him to say, hey, can you set up a meet between Alexa and me because we might not be able to meet on the beach.
Right. Or like, I think maybe they were thinking that they were going to need some kind of content if for some reason they couldn't go back to Mexico. So they're like,
oh my gosh, why are you so smart? Why do you think like this? You should be a producer.
I should. Bachelor, hire me.
Hire you.
So I'm just like, that's what I'm saying is normally it's a document, they're not texting it. And so I'm supposed to believe that they texted her room number at the same time somebody's phone was left in his room. It doesn't make any sense.
True.
And then, yeah, if they weren't going to go back on the beach, then they're going to need people to meet some other way because they still have all these cast members that haven't come in. Mm-hmm. So they're like, okay, if Ivan asks to go see Alexa because now he knows she's here at the hotel, then we can record a meet and then whatever they want to do after that.
Yeah. Good point. All right.
So in the end, he was not there. He was trying to get a Rose to stay for Alexa because he had spent the night in Alexa's room the night before.
And then Papa Wells made Ivan apologize in front of his peers and remove himself from the situation like a good father does. So Ivan left, and that was the end of Ivan's journey.
Yes.
Let's go back to episode 9 and pick up with okay, do you want to talk about Ed's journey or Kenny and Mari's journey first?
Let's go with Kenny and Mari.
Okay, great. So they had more food play.
So I think that I'm hoping that the same producer who loves food play is also the producer who left their phone open so that they can get fired because I'm tired of it.
We're over it. And this wasn't even the last we've seen of the food play. But it was definitely probably the grossest. Well, maybe.
Definitely. I mean.
Maybe. Yeah, the whipped cream toast.
The whipped cream toe was my least favorite for obvious reasons. But
eating tacos off of a naked body is a close second.
Because how do you eat a taco off a body?
They didn't even do it. They just spread sour cream on hairy bodies with sand and then licked it off.
I'm going to throw up. That's so gross.
And it wasn't like, it's just so gross. And then that poor woman who got roped into that date. Yeah, she was just like standing in the background like, it's nice, right? Okay.
I'd love to lick some salsa off somebody's belly button.
Yeah. Poor lady. It's like, oh my gosh. Could you just, if you're going to incorporate the hotel staff or community locals or something in these things, and they're not actually doing something, you know, like later on with Kenny and Mari, they did the bruja, did the whole cleansing of the spirits. That was cool because that person needed to be there the whole time. And it was nice and spiritual, as Thomas said very many times.
Thomas was into it.
I loved that. But
he was jealous.
But for the naked taco eating date, she could have just said, here are the ingredients.
Have fun.
I'm going to leave you two alone. Have at it. Yeah. Why did she just stood back there with her hands folded in front of her and it's like, delicious, right?
It's good. I love tacos.
So awful.
It was so gross. And I was sitting there the whole time thinking, this cannot be fun because on one hand, if you're putting the actual meat on the body, it's hot, right? Or you're eating room temperature meat. Ugh. And the same with sour cream. It's either going to be cold, uncomfortably cold, or room temperature sour cream.
Either way, it's putting dairy on body parts, and I think it's gross. Stop it.
It's all gross. I need the food play to stop.
I do too. And it didn't. But then their night portion of that date was, I felt like their whole relationship to me feels very not forced, because I think that they really do have chemistry, I guess, but it seems like they're holding back something. Nothing about their interaction seemed natural to me. Maybe that's what I'm trying to say.
I feel like maybe it's all physical.
Maybe, but then they're trying to convince themselves that it's a deep emotional connection, but yet they miscommunicate all the time. And neither of them say what they're actually feeling, and they're just, it feels very they're both kind of robotic around each other. Or maybe my other thought was maybe they're just private and they don't divulging all of their emotions in front of a camera, which I guess I understand. So maybe when the cameras are off, they have better conversations. But it was so shocking to me that by the end of these episodes, they're like, yeah, I'm planning on proposing. And I'm like,
oh yeah. I was like, I have not seen that.
I was like, I mean, maybe dating and like continuing to hook up, I guess, but like getting married? Like, I really didn't see that coming because you guys seem to not talk about anything.
Also, I feel like the night portion dates are awkward if you're not talking about serious things. Mm-hmm. Because you sit there in front of a plate that you don't eat.
Correct.
And you just talk.
Well, they just ate tacos, so maybe they weren't hungry.
True, but in general, you don't eat on the date. Yeah. And I always think that sounds really weird because, like, when you go to dinner with someone on a date, mm-hmm. you can eat to fill up the, like, empty spaces. Mm-hmm. Like, if there's a lull in the conversation, you just take a bite or a drink.
Mm-hmm. And you can talk about the food. And you can like, talk about
food and what you're going to order.
Or what people are doing around you. Like, you can make small talk, but all they do is look at each other and not touch any fork or knife and say, I really love being here tonight.
I really love being here with you.
Another side of yourself that you've really surprised me. I can really see this happening outside of this paradise. Okay. It's like so robotic, so contrived. So like I understand it's not a natural.
But even in the other dates that are dinner dates, I always think they're so awkward because it's like you literally have to come up with something deep to talk about. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, it's just going to be weird because you're not filling the empty space with anything. So you like have to come up with like, I have a kid, I have a divorce, you have to come up with your traumas to talk about because it's the only thing that's going to keep the conversation like flowing without the small talk that you normally have it when you're eating dinner.
Yeah.
So I can understand that. But I also, like you mentioned, I don't really see their connection other times. Like we haven't really seen them have any conversations with substance.
Like maybe Mari just has a lot of Botox and that's no shade to Botox or fillers. But like she makes no expression.
Yeah.
Like when she's around him, she doesn't seem like really happy. He seems to like crack a smile and like be really into her sometimes, but like neither of them seem to like have a lot of fun together. Do you know what I mean? Not that it like has to be super lighthearted and fun all the time, but like you're in the first 5 weeks of dating, I would think you would make each other laugh and like play around a little bit.
Well,
Mari
also,
just seems
I feel
really
like
serious.
You see two types of couples on Paradise normally. You see the ones that are having so much fun that just look like they're having so much fun. Like Becca and Thomas just look like they're having a great time. Yeah. And then you see some that have developed an emotional connection early on that talk about serious things. Mm-hmm. But we don't see
they're neither of those.
Either of those things.
They just, I don't feel like they know really what to do with each other now that there's no Demi and there's no
drama.
Other people. Yeah, there's no drama. So then there's nothing like really pulling them back to each other. They're just like, okay, now we're together. This is what together means, being together. Yeah, it seems boring.
It does, yeah.
Okay. Anything else you want to say about Kenny and Mari?
Well, just that I thought it was strange that Kenny said something about like they weren't on the same page and it used to be passionate, but now it's not. And I was like, it's not? Because like all I see is you guys like making out or going to the boom boom room or whatever. And then the bruja comes and blows some smoke around him.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, oh, I'm so in love with Mari.
Yes. Now that did the trick. Which
that fixed everything. We're getting married now.
I appreciated the use of the local culture. And it seems like Mari has some Hispanic background. She seems to understand Spanish at least. And so I thought that was really cool. I liked how much they took it seriously. I like how much Thomas took it seriously.
Thomas wants that date.
He does, and I kind of like, I love Thomas now.
Me too.
I don't know. The producers got me. I love him now. But yeah, even during that, like it seemed like it could have been even more like passionate, and it was just so surface. Like, you're doing this, like, supposed to be a really special ceremony, and you're just like, I don't know. It seemed really weird. It seemed really surface.
I loved the date. I thought that was interesting and cool. Mm-hmm. But I just thought it was strange. I mean, and also maybe it's editing, but how before the date, he's like, I'm not into Mari anymore. And then after the date, he's like ready to propose.
Like, that's exactly what I needed. It was this candle to be rubbed on my body. And I don't understand the language. I have no idea what just happened, but gosh, it really did something for me. Maybe it did. I mean, I believe in energy and these things, but I don't know. That felt weird. I think some of these couples, we saw it early on with like Noah and Abigail when they like fake broke up before this breakup, like early on, where they just kind of like make conflicts when there's not any conflicts, just so that they have some sort of televised arc, I guess. So I don't know. It felt weird. It felt very rehearsed? Not rehearsed. Planned? Not planned. I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, we can move on.
Let's move on. I want to talk about Ed.
Okay, let's talk about Ed.
So Ed comes in and he takes Natasha on the date. This is after Natasha had already been on a date with Dr. Joe. That didn't work out.
Did you notice she had another big ass margarita?
It wasn't as big, but yes, it was quite.
No, not at the date. Like, she was walking with Ed at the beach, and she had another one.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
Was it just as big, like the fishbowl kind?
I think so.
Oh, I didn't notice. I wasn't looking. But anyway, their date seemed also not chemistried. I don't know how else to put it. Like, it felt, again, very forced, very awkward. Forced. I think Natasha thought Ed was safe and nice and probably wouldn't hurt her. So she was like, okay, I'll go along with this because I've been burned in the past. But I don't think that Ed was really getting anything in return, which is probably why he felt safe rescuing McKenna. So let's go ahead and talk about that.
Right. So McKenna comes in, and I feel kind of, I mean, I know that we don't love McKenna, but I feel kind of bad for McKenna because she did get to meet a lot of the guys at that tight ass party.
Yes.
And so she knew coming in there were some guys that she liked or that she vibed with at the party or that she talked with at the party. And it seemed like those guys were Thomas and Aaron, which were both at the party. And during the party, we saw clips of her dancing with Thomas or whatever. So she comes into the beach, and Thomas is like a smitten kitten with Becca. So she pulls Thomas first, and he's like, yeah, no, I'm with Becca. I'm not going on a date. Then for whatever reason, Aaron doesn't tell her that he's not going to accept a date. So she asks him on a date, and he says no, that he is not in a place to go on a date. Which, that was funny to me because
then he immediately starts dating Tia at the prom.
Yeah, but also,
and he made
had
a huge
good
deal
excuse because he could have just been like, I'm vibing with Chelsea.
But he wasn't, because he also had plans to go out with Tia later.
Yes.
So
but So
I
he just
that
says,
was messed up.
I'm not in a place to go on a date, which is obviously going to make McKenna feel worse later when he picks a new girl, aka Tia, to hang out with. So McKenna, the drama queen that she is.
My God.
And I
knew
wish I
the
could have
whole
felt
time
bad for her. I was watching this and I was like, Rachel is hating this.
I was so annoyed.
Yeah, so she starts crying like a lot for a long time, it seems. And everybody's watching, and Aaron's like, she's fine. And was it Tia? It was Tia. And she was like, she's crying.
She's crying. She shouted from the top of her lungs.
Yeah, so she starts crying because Aaron said no to the date, and probably also because she probably came in and knew that she either wanted to take Thomas or Aaron. But at this point,
Bold.
she's been away for, I guess, probably 2 or 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. So a lot has happened, and none of the guys that she likes are available.
Yeah, I got a little secondhand embarrassment because we all know as viewers that Thomas is with Becca. He's not going to leave Becca. They're really together, and he wouldn't, if he were thinking of like breaking things off with Becca, it wouldn't be for McKenna.
Yeah.
Just saying. Even if she thought they had a great connection at this thing because they were dancing. And what did she say? She's like, there's some people I haven't stopped thinking about. So she's really built this up in her mind, like this poor girl, like she really thinks she was going to go down to the beach and be like, it's always been you. And like they would embrace and
they would both say, I haven't stopped thinking about you since the party.
Oh my gosh, you were so much fun. I've never met anybody just like you. So that did not happen. So I think her ego she was disappointed after the first one. And then she pulls the other like super hot guy on the beach, which is Aaron, and then gets rejected by him. But she didn't even like give anybody else really a chance. Like she didn't really pull. I mean, I knew everybody was really coupled up, but like a few people weren't, like James, Ed. Like she didn't pull these people. Well, I guess she did because then Ed later comes in and he's like, I really did enjoy talking to you. I guess you don't think I'm good enough.
Well, and you could tell she was not excited about the prospect of going on a date with Ed.
And I wonder why, though, because like they seem like a good match.
They do seem like a good match, but I guess when you have your hopes built up for Thomas
and Aaron,
then Ed seems like,
So maybe she like had a status thing in mind.
But not a status thing, just like, I mean, Thomas and Aaron are obviously like the hottest guys on the beach. Like no matter your type, like if you just line them up and look at them, like they are the hottest guys on the beach.
Yeah.
So if you have built up in your head that you're going to go on a date with one of those guys and then like Ed's the only one that's available.
Yeah.
Not that, I mean, of course, everybody on the beach is beautiful.
They're
and
all attractive
and in shape and like, normal people would be lucky to go on dates with these people.
Yes. The top 0.01% of the population.
But if you're looking at it from like in that world, you can see how if you think you're going to go on a date with Thomas and then you end up going on a date with Ed, you're not happy. But once she got on the date, things went better.
She did. Yes, and I thought Ed made it, like he just played it so well.
And he was like we're just going to have fun.
Yes, and I like fell in love with Ed at that moment because like having a guy come up to you that maybe you're not initially attracted to, but he's like, hey, I know you didn't ask me, but I want to go on this date with you. And she's like, no. And he could have been like, okay, well, I tried. And he walked away, which I kind of thought he would. But he pushed it a little bit. And he was like, no, like, what are you going to do? Just go sit in your hotel room? You're not going to get a flight out tonight. He, like, kind of, like, not pressured her, but, like, didn't let her off so easy. Because I think maybe he picked up on something that, like, she didn't really want to leave, but she didn't really want to stay. And he's like, come on, like, just have fun a little bit, lighten up, stop crying, stop being a baby, and like be open to some other people here on the beach because we're available, I thought that was really cool of him. I think he did a really good job and he was super likable, and their date seemed really fun. Like,
yeah, it did.
Rollerblading around an empty hotel, like that sounds so fun.
I liked their date. I was like, oh, that one was like one of the, I think, best ones we've seen so far. And I just think it was really nice of him what he did. Like maybe he was into McKenna or maybe he wasn't, but he didn't really have any other prospects on the beach, but he knew that it was going to be hard for her to get the courage to ask someone else to go on a date after being rejected, so I think it was really nice of him to go up and say, hey, you didn't ask me, but I want to go with you.
Yeah. Super courageous. Like,
and also
bold.
Really nice of him to put his own feelings aside, because if they had talked and he did like her and then she picked Aaron, a lot of people would be like, oh, well, I'm not taking you then.
Yeah, she didn't pick me.
I don't want to be your second choice.
Why should I go help her? Yeah, exactly.
You know? So I thought it was really sweet. And then they looked like they had a great time. The date looked fun.
Did.
And they seemed actually like into each other by the end of it.
And this is a perfect example of how attractiveness is not always physical to me. Like, when you first see Ed, like, is he the hottest guy you've ever seen? No. But once he starts talking and he's pretty funny and he's like, you know, really caring, you can tell he really goes out of his way to help people, like, that makes him like 10 times more attractive. And so I think McKenna is really lucky that that was the person that came and saved her, because it could have been like somebody who was just trying to look good. But I think Ed truly wanted to do the right thing.
Yeah, I agree.
That was really cool. How did you feel about Natasha making a big deal about, oh, is it cool? Like, oh, when Serena was the one who said, oh my gosh, they're so cute. Natasha snaps around. It's like, is it Serena? Is it cute? I was like, chill out. You didn't like him.
Yeah, you guys didn't even vibe. And I just thought that was a little bit annoying, because I'm like
this again?
Like, you have, like, yes, you were the victim of Brendan because Brendan is trash, but you can't continue being the victim the whole time. Like, you were the victim with Dr. Joe because Brendan's his best friend, and then you know, but you can't just continue to own people that you go on dates with. That's not how paradise works.
And nobody owes you anything just because you went on one date and you weren't even like that into him. You didn't show him any affection at all.
No, and there are people here who've passed out roses 2 times or more, that then the person decides they want to go on a date with someone else, which the other person understands, because they're like, we're not exclusive. This is paradise. You know, until you say that you're not going to go on a date with somebody else, you don't own, I mean, not that you do own the person then anyway, but like you don't have any reason to be mad if somebody goes on a date. Now, I say that as a viewer who will never go on the show. I can imagine that if you're there, it does suck. If you actually like the person, though, that's the thing. Like, for Tammy, yes, it did suck when Thomas went on a date with Becca, because they had been exchanging roses back and forth and she actually really liked him. But Natasha and Ed is completely different. They went on one date. She didn't like him. And now she's mad that he's going on a date with somebody that he actually likes.
It's just her ego being hurt again. Same thing with Aaron and Ivan. Like, it has nothing to do with Ed. She's just mad that yet another guy
because you see something similar.
Didn't sweep her off her feet.
Yeah, you see something similar with Tia, where she had been giving, like, her and James had been exchanging roses. But then in the interview, she said, well, the guy I've been exchanging roses is on a date with someone that he might actually like, and I hope he does. Like, she was like, I hope that he does like her, because we don't have that great of a connection.
Right.
And so I thought that was really cool of Tia to be like, well, I hope they do get along. Whereas, like, Natasha was on the other side. It's like, I hope they don't, when she doesn't actually like him.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Tia was more honest with her feelings, where she was like, I'm not mad that nobody wants to be with me. I'm mad that I'm here by myself, and there's a difference. She's like, I'm mad that everybody else is coupled up and I'm the only one here that isn't. And she's like, that's what makes me uncomfortable. It doesn't make me uncomfortable that somebody rejected me because I didn't want to be with them either. I'm only upset that it's very obvious that I'm single right now. And
Which
I'm
is
like,
honestly a better look.
Yes.
Like, it's a better look to be like, he's with this other girl, but that's fine because we didn't have a connection, than for you to be like, oh, I'm mad that we went on a date and now he's going on a date with someone else.
Yeah. Because one of them is being a perpetual victim. Yes, thank you. A perpetual victim. And the other is taking responsibility, or at least, like, admitting her true feelings. And yeah, I'm kind of over Natasha. I think she's great. I think she's really sweet. She's obviously beautiful. But I don't think that her person's on that beach, and I think that's okay. Like, she may just need to leave. Like,
I think she's really funny, and I would love for her to stay and just give commentary and stuff, which I guess is like why she has a podcast. But I mean, I like her commentary on the beach, except for when it's about people she's been on dates with, because it's like, okay, I'm done with your one dates, and then, you know, you don't have a connection, which is fine. Don't try and force it. Like, you don't have to have a storyline on Paradise that ends with a connection. There are plenty of like fan favorites on Paradise who don't make connections on the beach. Exactly. So it's fine if you're just here and you're funny and you're with your friends. Of course, you'll eventually go home because there's going to end up a time where everybody's coupled off and there's no extra roses for you. Yeah. But at least you had a good time on the beach and that's it. But you don't need to force any storyline.
Yeah. I agree. Very much agree. Yeah, she could have like just taken the L, so as the kids say, and just been like, okay, I think this is probably my last week in Paradise. Like, I'm seeing Ed. He's gonna go on this date with McKenna. They're really cute. This is my last week in Paradise, so let's party it up, guys. Like, let's just hang out, and then at the rose ceremony, I'll be prepared to go home. Or she can self-eliminate and leave early if she really doesn't want to be there anymore. Personally, unless it was a really bad environment, I'd be like, well, I'm just going to hang out, keep getting my tan, keep getting free drinks, hang out with my friends.
And then get sent home.
Drama, get all the background, and then go home.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that? Like, I think there must be something in the water on Paradise that says if you're not in a relationship, you're a loser. I mean, I guess that's kind of the premise of the show.
I mean, the premise is that if you're not in a relationship, you go home.
Yeah. But what's so wrong about going home?
Yeah, there's not a bad thing. I mean, I guess maybe you'll have FOMO because all your friends will be hanging out without you.
And I think they get paid by the episode.
I think they get paid by the week. Also, but yeah.
Yeah. So they get paid for how long they're there, I guess. Which also is like, why would you send yourself home? Like, keep getting a few more dollars, you know?
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't know.
But yeah, I'm like, girl, just find somebody you're actually interested in, because, you know, it's not a good look for you to keep being like, oh, I'm getting rejected. And it's like, no, it's not rejection if you don't want them either.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's fine if it's mutual that you don't have a connection, which most of the time it is. Like, you have a connection or you don't.
Yeah.
So I don't know why she's like continuing to act like she's getting screwed over.
Right. It's like nobody owes you affection or whatever.
And it's the nature of the show. Like, you know, new girls are coming in and you see all the couples around you that are very, very established. So who do you think is left to go on dates with?
Exactly. So I think maybe, but then she was sick for the prom. Conveniently.
Sick.
Very sick. I'm not sure.
So Tia just went by herself.
I know. I'm like, at least Tia had the balls to like put on that fluffy dress and go and have a good time. Like, even if it was kind of rough. And it worked out for her because then she unexpectedly got with Aaron.
Yeah.
Cool. I kind of like them together.
I like it. I'm into it. I was like, whoa.
This is like nice. Really playful. It was cute. It was like unexpected. And I was like, why did Aaron wait so long? Like, they've both been there like pretty much the whole time.
But I think maybe because the time is shorter than we think. And I think everyone thought, because we didn't talk about this yet, everybody thought that Tia was like super, super into Tatty Daddy Blake.
Yes.
And that she was going to pick Blake and they were going to be a thing. Mm-hmm. So I think Aaron probably
he backed off.
I mean, not that he never went in, because she was with James, and then, you know, she went on a date with James.
And James is Aaron's best friend.
Right. And then Blake came in, and Tia was obviously very into Blake.
Mm-hmm.
So I think maybe...
can we talk about that?
Yeah, we have to. We didn't yet.
Oh my God. That was really surprising to me, because I also thought that Tia and Blake were going to be there together the whole time.
Me too.
Like, I thought they were going to leave together because they seemed like such a good match. But I'm so proud of Tia for, like, not just going for him because he's hot.
I can also
like giving him passes.
Yeah. Sorry. I also think that it shows that she's actually ready for something real.
Yeah.
Because like when you are young, you're like, okay, this guy's hotter. This guy, you know, maybe I'm more attracted to him physically, whatever. And that's all I need. But as you get older, you're like, okay, that's not it. Like if you are only attracted to that person because they look good, like your relationship is not going to be.
Hang on 1 second.
Okay.
Pause. I think that maintenance is coming. Oh yeah. They're just cleaning out my dryer. Yeah. And that's fine. Hi. Okay. It's fine. We can keep talking. Awkward. I don't know them.
So yeah, I think that it shows that she's actually ready for a real relationship because she's not just going for the person who she finds attractive. She's like, no, I want someone who is nice and who like wants to do things for me.
Can you hear that in the background?
Maybe, but if it doesn't show up on your Audacity, it's probably fine.
I don't know if it will or not. Anyway, just so listeners know, maintenance is cleaning out my dryer. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just dirty. Maintenance. Not that you needed to know that, but I don't know why I'm defensive of my dryer that I don't even own. But they're cleaning out the vent. So if you hear a noise in the background, that's what that is. But anyway, we're going to ignore it, even though it's very loud.
Ignore it. So yeah, she ended up choosing James, sending Blake home.
And I think that was so cool. I think it was, I don't think it was because she was more into James than she was into Blake, but I think she recognized that James was more deserving of the experience than Blake.
And I think she also was like, no, I've spent my whole life choosing hot guys.
Yeah.
And this time I'm going to choose the good guy.
Yeah.
And so she chose the guy who was nicer to her, who wanted the experience, wants a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
But the things Blake was saying, I thought were valid. Like he was like, no, I just want to spend time with you. And like, she was like, no, I want you to do things for me. But this also could be a case of like love languages. Like,
yeah, maybe
his love language is words of affirmation and he doesn't understand why she isn't fine with him telling her how he feels. And if her love languages are services or gifts, and she's like, no, you have to show me how you feel. Because that was the whole conversation. The whole conversation, he was like, I've been telling you that I like you and I want to be here with you. And and she was like, yeah, but you haven't been doing anything to show me. And I was like, you guys need to read the 5 love languages. You guys are just miscommunicating in your way that you show love.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't really like how defensive he got. I don't like that he was like, no, I don't need to do those things. And also, like, it is kind of messed up that, okay, entering the cocktail party, typically you immediately go and grab the person that you're interested in getting their rose. And you start to, further your connection or whatever. I mean, that's just the format of the show. And according to Tia, Blake just hung out with the guys and was like, no, I'm going to get that rose. Like, it's fine. Like, he was just kind of cocky about it, which probably rubbed her the wrong way. Because she was like, no, you have to earn it. Like, it's not just given to you. Like, there is another guy in the running over here, and you seem to think that you have it in the bag. So show me what you got. And he was kind of like, whoa, whoa, whoa. This is coming out of nowhere, you crazy girl. Like, that's what, like, kind of got me is, like, he kind of just sort of got immediately defensive and just said, like, you're the one overreacting here. But, like, maybe her feelings were valid, even though they may just have communicated. Like, he could have taken the opportunity to explain it better without getting defensive.
Yeah. I mean, I see both sides, though, because I see hers where it's like, on one hand, I have James who's doing all of these really nice things for me and really showing me that he wants to be here for me. And on the other hand, I have Blake who's just here. He's hanging out with the guys. He's not showing me that he cares about me. But then on Blake's side, which obviously I don't know what Blake has said to her, and I don't know if their connection is real or if he's just trying to stay. We've barely seen Blake.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, if someone were saying those things to me that I actually liked and actually felt a connection with, I would be like, so our connection's not enough? Like, I like you. I've told you I like you. We obviously have a connection, and you're saying that I need to do things for you because someone else is doing things for you. Like, I would be a little bit like, I don't know. The connection says everything.
What do I have to prove?
Yeah. If we don't have a strong connection, then send me home. But if we have a strong connection, I don't need to do all these fake things to show you that I have a connection with you.
Yeah. Yeah, I see. I think you're probably right. I think she just really values acts of service over words of affirmation. And he seems to think words of affirmation are enough, but she thinks words without actions are empty. And maybe she's been hurt in the past by somebody who would say things and then not do them, kind of thing. So there's probably a lot going on there. Like I said, he looks exactly like her ex-boyfriend, so she probably is a little bit triggered by anything that might remind her of that relationship.
No, totally, but I mean, they're both valid. Like, if he's not giving her what she needs in a relationship, then it's not going to work anyway.
Yeah.
So it's fine. I mean, obviously it's fine because it's not my rose, so she can give it whoever she wants. But obviously it's fine to know that now, that like, okay, well, even if we do have a connection, if I like you, this isn't going to work if you're not showing me in the way that I want to be shown that you care about me. So I don't have a problem with the way she handled it or the way that she sent him home, but I'm saying that I can also see that, like, for me, my love language, one of them is words of affirmation. So I can see how, in my case, if I'm telling somebody how I feel about them and they come back with like, oh, you're not doing enough, and I'm like, oh, well, then our connection's not enough. Like, what more can I do? Because this is how I'm showing you that I care about you. And if you can't see that, then, you know, it's not going to work anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. It would have been really cool to see, like, in that conversation, one of them just say, I just think we have different ways of expressing love, and either we can sit down and work through it, or maybe it's just not a compatible match and we just move on. But instead it was like, hurt feelings this way, hurt feelings that way.
It was so frustrating for me to watch because I was like, you guys aren't in the same conversation. Like, he's saying, I'm telling you this, and she's saying, you're not showing me this. Like, you guys aren't in the same conversation. Like, you're each saying things, but you're not responding to what the other person is saying.
That was an astute observation. Yeah, that's really true. They were like operating on different planes. Yeah. Like, not, just going by parallel. Not, and it's really, like,
that's why I was like, yes, all these things are true. No one is in the wrong here. Like, yes, he probably is telling you something. And yes, at the same time, he's not doing things. So she feels a certain way about that, and he feels a different way because they're just not talking about the same thing.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, true. Good point. Well,
so
still,
Tatty Daddy goes home.
I'm glad Tatty Daddy goes home. I still didn't like his vibe, though. I mean, that's a different issue, but I still think he was, like, kind of cocky, but whatever. I'm glad she picked James.
Me too.
Because then he was still there somehow for yet another week.
Yet another woman. And another week, another woman.
Another week, another woman. And he was able to meet Anna, who came down. She seems to think this is her redemption story, which it might be.
Yeah,
but it's kind of weird to it's kind of weird to say that out loud. It's kind of weird to come in and be like,
for redemption, everyone. Everyone, I have an announcement. I'm a new person. This is my redemption.
I am no longer a bitch. Okay, everybody?
And I got lip fillers so that my mouth doesn't do that weird thing.
She thinks that her mouth isn't doing the weird thing, but it kind of still is. But that's okay. And that's fine. She's a beautiful, beautiful girl.
She is beautiful.
But it was weird because whenever she kind of went through the McKenna arc too, where she was like pulling a guy, no, I'm in a relationship, okay, on to the next, pulling a guy, no, I'm in a relationship, okay, on to the next. And she's like, I just want to find a hot guy to go on a date with and show people that I'm a nice person. And I'm like, Okay, you didn't read the script before coming down to the beach, did you? Because this isn't what you're supposed to say in the interviews.
I think that Anna and Piper got the same manual.
And then it just said, just be honest.
Yeah, just be honest and tell people
Just be
the real
yourself.
reason you're in paradise.
Yeah. No need to hold back. Everyone already knows. Yeah, so that was weird. But their date was cute.
Yeah, they're
What
vibing.
did they do?
I think they actually matched pretty well.
Yeah. They went to the hot tub.
Mm-hmm.
What did they do before? Oh, they did like dirty something. Oh my gosh, I wrote it down.
Oh gosh, yeah, more food stuff. It looked so uncomfortable. It was like a churro, and I just said that so much like a white person. It was like
a churro,
and they put cinnamon and sugar and chocolate, and he was rubbing her back, and I was like, that has to hurt. That looks painful.
Thought the same thing. I was like, you're sandpapering her back.
It's awful.
Like, dude, you see her next day like in a bikini.
Hives.
She's got scratches all over her and looks like she was like caught in a hornet's nest. Yeah, that looked really weird. Super uncomfortable. Neither of them were into it, but they were like, okay, I guess this is what I have to do now. The producers told me I have to cover my body in sugar and syrup.
I mean, I'm like, where's all this food stuff coming from? I need it to stop.
Why is that? I guess, okay. My only thought is they saved a lot of money from the past few seasons of Bachelorette and Bachelor by not traveling. So they're like, okay, we have all this money. We still can't go anywhere. I guess we'll just like go to Costco and like see what's available. And they find like gigantic bags of sugar and they're like, I guess we can do like a churro thing. And then that's all they can think of is to roll their bodies in sugar. I guess
they can't do like the city dates, like go out into the city or whatever.
Yeah, they're not allowed to like,
But I feel like
locals or anything.
You're at a beach. Like there's some activities we could do that don't involve food. Like we could go sea kayaking. We could go surfing. Snorkeling. We could get a slip and slide at Costco.
Like why? Yeah, lots of things at Costco. Not sure why y'all were so set on that sugar.
Like, and why are we still doing this?
Yeah, it was uncomfortable. You could tell neither of them liked it. But when they got to go in the hot tub, then Anna was super into it. Full on mounting him and showing everyone that she is wanted. This is her redemption story.
Don't forget.
And she kisses boys. I want everybody to know that. It's like, okay. But no, they were cute.
I thought it was like really funny that, again, in the hierarchy of Bachelor world, not real world hierarchy, they saved Anna and McKenna for the end. Everybody's already coupled up. I'm sorry. I thought the point was to bring in people that would break people up. But then they ended up finding two guys that were not coupled who work very well for them. So I was very surprised how well it worked out for them.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it did. Okay. Let's start talking about the Paradise Prom.
Okay. My favorite
that
part.
will kind of feed into the Noah and Abigail thing, which is where it leaves off.
Right.
So, I had something to say. Prom just reminded me of it. We didn't really talk about Riley and Marissa, but in episode 9, Marissa's bright pink dress reminded me of your prom dress that you wore in high school.
I didn't see it.
Oh my gosh. It's like hot pink. Yours was cuter, but hers, it was like, that like V-neck line and like strappy and everything. Yeah. I was like, oh my gosh, that looks like Madison's dress.
I loved that dress.
I
begged my parents to buy me that dress, and it was for junior prom, and it was expensive. That. Like it was from like that store in the mall. It was called like Cachet or something. Like it was for a high school student.
No,
it was not a cheap dress.
Yeah.
I begged my parents to buy me that dress, and they were like, no, this is your junior prom. Like, for your senior prom, we'll get you like a nicer dress. And I was like, no, please, I'll wear it 2 years in a row. I'll wear it to junior prom and senior prom and anything in between. Like, I'll wear it for everything.
You never wore it again.
I did. I wore it for homecoming.
Oh, yeah, homecoming. I forgot about that.
So then they were like, fine, but we're not buying you a dress next year for senior prom. And I was like, that's perfect. I don't care. I just want this dress. So they bought that dress, and I wore it to prom, and then I wore it to homecoming.
Yes.
Which then it was worth because, you know, homecoming and stuff. And then my senior year, there was like a program where people would kind of swap dresses. Well, they would give dresses for free to a charity. And then you would go to the charity and you would pay like $5 or $10 for these dresses that people donated for free.
Oh.
So I went there and I paid $5 for that like mermaid ball gown.
Like teal.
The teal
like
dress. I loved that dress
blue
too.
and green, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
So then I ended up getting my dream dress for junior prom, wore it for homecoming, and then I only paid $5. I think my mom did pay the $5 for the teal dress.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I forgot about I kind of remember going to that shop with you, I think. Because didn't they have like, it was like cotillion dresses and like all this stuff?
Yeah, they had a ton of stuff. They think maybe they even had wedding dresses.
Okay. I like, in my memory, I'm like seeing like white dresses and everything. Yeah. Okay. I remember that. But yeah, that pink dress was great. I loved that pink dress.
I still have it. I don't think I can fit into it at the moment, but I still have it.
Me either. No, I couldn't fit into my junior prom dress like by my freshman year of college. And I mean, oh my gosh, it's just, I didn't like get that big, but like my dress was like a 00. Like, I cannot believe I was that small. But then our friend Caitlin used my prom dress on a cruise ship, and she looked great in it. And then I let her keep it because I was like, I'm not gonna ever fit into it again. But I loved that dress too. It was like white. It was like kind of bridal.
Yeah,
it was like cream. It wasn't quite right.
And it was
white.
like gold.
Then it had like the gold, detailing. And then for senior year, I almost didn't go to prom. But then like the day before, like our friend group convinced me, like, because I didn't have a date my senior year.
Yeah, but you don't
I had
have
a date my junior year. I know, and I was stupid. But then like a day before, our friend group was like, no, you should just go anyway. And I was like, okay, but I don't have a dress. And then our friend Audrey lent me her dress.
Oh, you should have worn my pink one.
I should have. I don't know why I didn't.
I don't know either.
I think Audrey just lived down the street from my house. So I was like, hey, can I come over and look at your dresses so I can wear something tomorrow? And that was fun. Prom was fun. Remember those days?
Yes. I'm trying to remember. I guess it was our junior prom. Mm-hmm. So I think we went a little bit harder for junior prom because our friends were seniors.
We did. Yes.
So that was like our prom because the next year it was like just us at school.
Yeah, and we weren't even So the prom at our high school was only supposed to be seniors and their dates. Mm-hmm. But remember how we finagled you in?
We did.
Because you were a junior and your boyfriend wasn't in high school. Mm-hmm. And so we had our senior friends who were going to go together, get you a ticket, and then your dude a ticket. And we finagled you in. And I went with a senior.
But we had other people in the friend group who weren't seniors who did the same thing because there were like multiple seniors going together. So then we just took their extra date tickets. So for senior prom, we all got a limo.
Like,
even Sky went to
junior.
Junior prom. That's what I mean. Sorry.
Yeah, junior. Yeah,
junior
Sky.
prom.
Yeah, Sky was a sophomore.
Yeah, and she went.
How did we get? That was so fun.
It was so fun. All of our friends went junior year because we had a lot of friends who were seniors, and so we got a limo for junior prom. We went to Yaya's and had Italian food.
Oh my gosh!
And then we went to prom, and then for senior prom, I don't remember where we ate.
We went to IHOP after junior prom.
And didn't we all go back to my mom's house and play Just Dance all night?
Yes, we were there. Yes.
Like,
it was so fun.
8 a.m.
Oh my God. No, I definitely passed out at like
No, you definitely went to sleep.
Yeah, I still can't stay up past midnight. No, that was so fun. Yeah, we all looked like a wreck because nobody like washed the hairspray out of our hair, and we still had our makeup on. We just like looked like a mess the next morning, but that was so fun.
That was fun.
Not to like idealize our high school experience, although it was a good one, but like I wouldn't go back.
No, I wouldn't go back either. But since we're on the prom episode, it's fun to talk about.
It's fun to reminisce. I had forgotten like a lot of those details. I do remember I went to prom with our sweet friend Oliver, who's the Italian foreign exchange student, and he was just the sweetest.
Love him.
He was so excited because I mean obviously he was from Italy, so he was studying in America, and he was like so excited about like the prospect of prom because prom didn't exist, you know, in his high school back at home. So he was like, we're gonna dress up like movie stars, like this is the American way. And I was like, I'm all for it. It was so fun.
It was so fun.
I took pictures.
Yes.
Anyway, okay, enough about our prom. Let's talk about this
their prom.
High budget 80s prom.
Interesting theme, I have to say.
Interesting theme, since I feel like only 2 of them had actually experienced the 80s.
Yeah, and also interesting theme because I feel like that's more of like a homecoming week day theme that you dress up to go to school.
Right.
Like 80s themed or whatever. But it's not a prom theme.
I think it was honestly because that was the band that they could book, was the 80s cover band.
Probably. But it was
weird.
They were
good.
Because I was like, I mean, also to be fair, I guess a normal prom theme wouldn't be fun for them because they're literally wearing prom dresses every other day for the cocktail party. Mm-hmm. So it was probably just an excuse to wear something different because they're always wearing prom dresses. Yeah,
and I was thinking like how fun it would have been if when wait, why am I blanking on his name? The NSYNC Lance Bass. When Lance Bass was there, if he had hosted a 90s prom or early 2000s prom,
that would have been cool.
That would have been fun, but I guess like the dresses wouldn't have been that different. Yeah. I mean, they would have been kind of different, but not as like dramatically different. Like the 80s were a very specific dress moment.
Speaking of, I felt like I was on Bachelor in Paradise when I just went to Miami for a bachelorette party because our hotel had a 90s pool party that was hosted by Joey Fatone and AJ McLean. So we went.
What?
And I was like, whoa, I feel like I'm on The Bachelor now because we're at this pool party with the boy band
Backstreet Boys
people.
Yeah, that's so fun.
One of them's in NSYNC.
Wait, I thought AJ's in Backstreet Boys, I thought.
But I think Joey's in NSYNC.
Oh my gosh, controversial. Wait, we might be wrong.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. It's not worth looking up. I don't care about. I could be wrong.
Yeah, it's fine. Let us know if we're wrong. If we don't really care.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt my feelings.
I mean, it wasn't Justin Timberlake, so who cares?
Right, we would have gotten that right. That's really fun. I love those, like, they're not, I don't want to be mean and call them has-beens, but like, it's like, but I guess I am. But it's just like fun to like have the nostalgia.
Yeah, and reminisce, because like you don't listen to that music now every day, but when you go, it's like, oh.
I do.
Well, Rachel does. Most people don't.
I do. Oh my gosh. All I listen to in my car is not music from now. Like I listen to 80s, 90s, and early 2000s because I don't know any of the music now, and I'm too far gone to learn it. They're all from TikTok, and I don't have that anymore.
Well, that's good.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, enough about that. Oh my gosh. Okay, prom. What did they do? They had a great band. I thought the band was awesome. They were really into it, and it seemed like they put most of their budget into that prom.
It seems like
even for only 16 of them or whatever. Like they had like the disco balls,
which good for them. It was eventful.
It was eventful. They had the punch that spiked. That was great. The snacks table. I would love to go to that prom, even if I was going as single Tia.
Yes,
like
worked
just
out for
fun.
Her.
Worked out for her, and yes, anything could happen at these proms.
The red dress was working. The poofy dress,
so cute,
and her ponytail. Cute.
I will say Tia was the only one that committed to the hairstyle.
She was.
Everybody else just put a little bow on the side of their head. I'm like, where's your hairspray? Where's your tease comb?
Where's your tease comb? Exactly.
Can you commit Like,
Commit
nobody
to the
cares
theme. Nobody likes a theme that is only done half-assed.
Halfway. Right. Can we please, like, I get it. You want to look cute, especially the people who just got there. You want to still have your good impression on these boys that apparently mean so much to you. But come on, like, have fun.
You look cuter if you're all the way in the theme.
Yeah.
Like, nobody likes a person who's too
and
cool.
straightened hair. Right.
Yeah. Nobody likes a person who's too cool to do the theme.
Exactly.
The cool girl is always the one who goes all in for the theme.
Exactly. I agree. Because then you're like, oh my gosh, that must have taken you hours and you looked great. Again, the makeup. Like, I wanted to see straight up pink, no blending on the eyelids.
Yeah.
Come on, people. Some people did it. Serena did a good job, even though she didn't tease her hair, but like, I get it. She has curly hair. Like, that would have been annoying.
Yeah, and how would she get it out? That must be difficult.
Exactly. Especially you're on a beach, like limited resources. But for the girls who had like naturally straight hair, like you could have teased it up a little bit.
It would have fallen out anyway. You could have teased it just for the beginning. But yeah, the party was fun. I liked that Wells spiked the punch. That was funny. What else?
It seemed like it was fun. We already kind of talked about how Aaron pulled Tia and
out of nowhere
making out, and then they just like casually walked down. They're like, everybody's gonna hate us, and I was like,
and then they're just dancing together like they're together. Like I'm so on a hook. Like I'm even more on a hook. This is like the most on a hook I've been this whole season. I think, just because I was not expecting it.
Yeah, he
pulls her. They end up vibing, making out. Then they go back kind of like hand in hand.
Yeah. Bold.
Nobody's mad at him like they were at Chris. Which, I mean, different because, as we've mentioned before, Chris and Jacinio had been like really into each other. And I don't think that Chelsea's into Aaron at all.
No.
And she had already made out with Ivan. So she can't really be mad. I mean, she acted mad. She's like, I think I deserve a conversation and blah, blah. I'm like, well, did you give a conversation before you made out with Ivan? Like,
right.
I think that's probably a sign to the other person that you're not that into them and that you are dating other people. So I didn't get that.
Yeah.
But then Aaron and Tia are just dancing together the whole night. And I'm like, so are we a thing now?
I would have loved to be there and just like, oh my God. Like, because that would have been like, as exciting as it was for us as viewers, imagine being there around the two of them this whole time and then suddenly you see them like together. Like, oh my God, that's the dream.
Yeah.
I love that. Love that amount of drama. I do think they're cute and I agree. I don't think that Chelsea had any room to be upset. They clearly were not together. He didn't ask you to prom for a reason. Like, he didn't go out of his way to do the promposal like all the other guys, which, by the way, some of them are cute, most of them are not. But Aaron like made it a point to not ask you to this prom, like, you know, kind of get the hint a little bit. Maybe he should have been more direct with you, but why would he? You made out with Ivan like 24 hours prior.
And the only reason you addressed it is because they got in a big like arguing fight, because she was gone for I don't know how long because she missed the whole entire fight, which means she didn't make out with Ivan and then be like, oh, Aaron deserves a conversation. No, she made out with Ivan and then I don't know what she went to do. Went to take a nap, I guess.
Yeah.
So I don't think she deserves anything from that.
Yeah, so then I think her ego is just a little bit bruised. Yet again, another person taking out their hurt feelings on people that don't owe them anything. And I am rooting for Tia and Aaron. I hope it sticks. I hope it's not just like they were excited in the moment and then they realize this probably isn't right, because he's quite a bit younger than her. I think he's in his like mid-20s. I think she's 30. That's not that younger, but they're in different stages. She's like a doctor of physical therapy and he's like not quite that.
No, but I think they're cute together. And I also think, surprisingly, like their senses of humor go well together. Like, he's really funny and she's really funny and they're both kind of goofy, but they can be serious if they want to. And they're both obviously attractive. So I'm rooting for them. I hope that they actually have something and it wasn't just the punch.
Me too. And then Wells presents the superlatives.
Of course.
Biggest flirt goes to Kenny. Best kisser of toes goes to Marissa.
Hated that.
She's proud of that one. Yeah, she looked real proud of that one. And then happily ever after goes to Abigail and Noah, which was the producer's move because they had been talking to Noah this whole time, and he's thinking, hey, he's telling them that I told her I was falling in love with her. She didn't say anything. I'm rethinking all of this. Maybe this isn't my person. I think I have to have a really tough conversation with her. So what do the producers do? They make sure to blindside everyone, or set up the blindsidedness for everyone by naming them the happily ever after. Rude.
So rude.
But I get it. We'll get to that. We'll dive into that. King and Queen is Joe and Serena. They're very cute. Serena couldn't keep her crown on. That's fine. It's fine. Had to hold it on. It's fine. Nobody cared. Nobody saw that. Yeah, nobody noticed. Okay, Abigail and Noah. Maybe you had the same feeling, but I don't think that Noah really gave her a real chance to express herself. When he decided he was going to tell her that he was falling in love with her, he kind of just spat it out and kept talking.
Yeah.
Did you know what I mean? He was like, blah, blah, blah. And of course I'm falling in love with you. And that just brings me to my next point. And
then she's like, wait, what?
And she's like, do I say something now? He's already been talking for 5 minutes after
She even
the
said,
fact.
I thought maybe he said it by accident.
Fair enough. I would have been weirded out about that too. If somebody would just casually said it and then kept talking.
Didn't wait.
When do I respond? Do I respond at all? And then of course she's kind of always guarded. So if he really wanted a response, if he had gotten to know her at all, maybe having a very direct, purposeful conversation to say, hey, I have something to tell you and it's really big. I think I'm falling in love with you. He can't move on past that. And then wait. And then if she still says nothing, okay, panic. But what was she supposed to do in that situation? I felt so bad for her that she was just, and you could tell she really did feel it, because then later on in the prom, she's like, I'm going to say it tonight, maybe when we're dancing, I'm so into him. Poor girl.
And then, so he makes a big deal about her not saying that she is falling in love with him back. Then he sits her down at the prom and basically says 100 times, I don't think you're my person.
Rude.
And then she's like, well, but yesterday you told me that you were falling in love with me.
And he was like, oh, wait, you heard that?
Yeah. And he's kind of like, well, that's true. But at the same time, you're not my person.
Yeah. You can love someone without being, did he say you can love someone without being in love with them? But it's that's not what was happening there.
That's not what you said.
You said you were in love with her.
Yeah. And now you're not because she didn't say it back.
Yeah. I think he just panicked. And I think
he panicked, but I think
himself.
Also, I don't know, the other breakup and this one, they're very similar. They're just kind of yeah, we really like each other, but we're not going anywhere, which is fine. Yeah.
But what made him think that they're not? I don't think that they're king and queen of paradise by any means. They keep referring to themselves as the strongest couple there. I never really saw that. I always kind of saw them as oh, they're kind of puppy loving and it's cute, but I don't really see a strong emotional adult relationship between them, which is fine. But then I'm not sure why they thought that they did have that And that why, you know, maybe I don't know. I'm talking myself into circles. Because then maybe they're like, they both have picked up on, we're really surface. We don't really talk about anything important.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's really easy when you find someone that you get along with, that, you know, I mean, Paradise seems hard, so I guess it seems a little bit daunting also if you go in and you see all these couples that, like, go on a date and then they break up and then go on a date with somebody else and then somebody comes in and steals them. And so I guess if you find someone that you like enough that you're like, oh, I don't, or you see Kenny and Mari, like Mari says, oh, I want to date other people, and then she regrets it and has to watch Kenny date other, and so you're like, well, I don't want to do that. So I can see how maybe you go along with it, and the whole time you're kind of in the back of your mind like, I don't know if this is my person, but I like hanging out with them.
Yeah.
And then at the end you're just kind of like, okay, this isn't my person. But I'm kind of with Abigail. I don't know why he would say I'm falling in love with you and then the next day you're not my person. Like, you don't just go around saying that to people that you're not into.
I'm wondering if he was just kind of trying it out for size. Like, if he was just, honestly, like, maybe he was just like,
what would it feel like?
I don't really feel that. Yeah. He's like, well, I'm not so sure. I wonder if I said it, would I get more clarity? Which is really messed up because then you're kind of messing with people's emotions.
Yeah.
But, like, honestly, I kind of think Noah is that amount of immature. I don't think he's totally immature, but I do think he has some, like, learning to do about his own emotional expression, so that he kind of feels like he has to talk out loud through his feelings. That's fine. That's how people process things. But he kind of hurt Abigail by doing that because he said something really important that she probably takes very seriously. And then I think the tears were, he doesn't want to hurt her. Mm-hmm. I don't think the tears were, I just love you so much, but I have to part from you for the best of us.
Yeah, like, no, I think he didn't want to hurt her, and probably seeing her upset made him upset because obviously they care about each other. They've spent a lot of time together, you know, these past however long it's been, past few weeks or whatever. And so they obviously care about each other, and it would suck to see someone that you care about crying or hurt.
Yeah, but especially because you did it.
Yeah, especially because it's your fault.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing how it plays out because it seems like there's more to come.
I feel like they get back together.
I think they get back together.
Which is so annoying. Like, I wish they would have just done it once. Like, why do that stupid breakup early on? Like, it would have been cooler if you just been together the whole time and then done, like, this weird breakup.
I guess it's also it's the normal pressure at the end of Paradise that the producers put on the people. And, you know, Wells was like, oh, okay, we're coming to an end. You have to evaluate your relationships and, you know, see if there's a proposal or whatever. And people forget, like, okay, we like each other. We can just hang out after. Like, we don't have to decide anything big. But I think that they put pressure on people. And it probably is a lot of pressure because you're like, okay, if I get engaged here on the beach, we get a bomb-ass ring. And so is it worth it right now? I don't know. I'm not 100% sure.
But we can continue to date while I'm wearing this really nice ring.
Yeah. So, but I'm sure that producers mentioned that because, like, what do the producers want? They want to see an engagement. And do they really care if they make it after Paradise? No.
No, but probably even better if they don't, because then there's more drama to be had after.
And they can come back on Paradise next year. But what they want to see at the end is someone get down on one knee with a really nice ring and get engaged. So I'm sure producers are like, if you're a strong couple, you have to be thinking about getting engaged. You have to be thinking about this, and you have to be doing that. And I'm sure that Noah's like, what? Like, I just want to hang out with Abigail.
And how old is he? Like 24, 25?
He's young. She's young.
26.
They both seem a little bit guarded. Like, they're not the fast-moving couple, you know?
Yeah.
So they're probably, like, freaking out right now, which is, like, understandable because the producers are probably pushing people to get engaged.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think they've also got it in their heads that they are, like, America's sweethearts. They've referred to themselves as such, not in those words, but, you know, they think that they have this, like, persona of being, like, the it couple on the beach, which is a little bit, like, not really. I think it's Joe and Serena, to be honest. But, like, maybe I'm biased, but I don't think that people are really like obsessed with Abigail and Noah like they think they are. But anyway, they have it in their head that they're like, America is counting on us, like even more pressure. But it's like nobody actually cares.
You
that
do
much.
you.
Exactly. But you know how it is when like you think everybody's like all eyes are on you to do something, even if it's made up in your head. Like sometimes you do stupid things in those situations. So, but yeah, no, I think that they get back together. I think that they sleep off the
crazy punch,
the spiked punch, and then they get back together the next morning. They're just like, come on, we're breaking up for stupid reasons. We're breaking up because we like each other too much.
Yeah, we're breaking up because we like each other, but we don't know if we want to marry each other, which is totally normal because we've been dating for a month and 5
weeks. Yeah, exactly. So, no, I think I don't know if they're still together now, but I think that they stay together for the rest of Paradise. Yeah. Just because, like, who else are they? Like,
I mean, or they self-eliminate, but
I guess.
I don't know. I feel like maybe they come to like a thing, an agreement maybe where they're like, okay, we don't have to know if we're each other's person right now.
Yeah, I think they leave dating.
Yeah, we can hang out and continue to date casually or whatever, and we can decide that later. It doesn't have to be right now.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Exactly. Okay, it'll be interesting to see.
It'll be interesting to see.
The finale is next week.
The finale.
Crazy.
What did we see anything interesting on the preview for the finale?
I don't remember.
They send Kendall back down, right?
Oh my gosh, yes. Oh my god. I have like the worst memory. I need to take like fish oil or something. Right? Omega-3, they're supposed to like connect your brain cells together because apparently I'm knocking two together and they're not even sticking, so okay, yes, Kendall comes down. Yeah, so is she trying to... Okay, theories. Is she trying to break up the engagement between Joe and Serena, which I think it's probably inevitable that they get engaged. Is she trying to break it up, or is she coming back down to say, hey, I didn't mean to mess up your headspace, even though he didn't. She didn't. And say, like, I give you my blessing.
Yeah, I think it's the latter.
Which is kind of dumb.
No, I think that producers want her to do that because they obviously want the footage of her coming down so they can tease like, oh, Kendall's going to come break up the engagement. But when she gets down there, it's going to be something stupid.
Yeah. It's just going to be like, hey, butthead, just want to let you know I want the best for you.
She's going to come down and be like, oh, I left my hair tie. Okay, bye. No, but I think she'll probably come down and give her blessing or... or she'll just come down and be like, I hope you know, I just want you to be happy or something like that. I hope the producers are not able to convince her to come back down while he's proposing and beg for him back, because that is going to be a horrible look if that's the case.
I'm telling you, they're trying to make her out to look crazy.
They are.
I really hope that is not the case. Oh, that poor girl. Because she's not. Was there anything else? I mean, people just getting engaged. We don't know who yet.
Rings. It definitely looks like Joe's fingers on one of the boxes.
Yeah, and Kenny and Mari, probably.
I don't know. I just feel
Riley
like
and Marissa,
season,
probably.
Like the couples don't seem like they're ready
that into each other. I know. The only one that I see actually ready to be engaged, I've already said it, Joe and Serena.
Yeah.
But then I think that the other couples just feel this crazy amount of pressure, or they're just trying to like get the screen time. I don't know. Which, or maybe they've just convinced themselves in the environment.
I would do it for the ring too. I'd be like, okay, well, let's do the TV engagement, get the ring. If it doesn't work, we give it back. But if it works, great, we have a nice ring. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess so. Do you get to keep it if you break up?
I think you have to date for 2 years.
Seriously? That's like in their contract? You have to stay together for 2 years?
Yeah. Which, you wouldn't want to keep it if you break up. But what I'm saying is, like, on the chance that you make it.
You could sell it.
Yeah, I guess. But on the chance that you,
I guess that's what they're
make it, that's great. Your ring is covered.
It's true. But who is the couple that ended up, I think it was JoJo and Jordan, is that his name? That they ended up like getting re-engaged with a different ring when they actually figured out that they did want to stay together forever.
I mean,
so like
a lot of people
that seems more appropriate.
Do that, I think. I mean, I know Caitlyn wanted Sean to do that when they broke up, but before they broke up, she wanted him to re-propose because obviously if you're getting engaged on the show, you're doing it for the ring or the happy ending
and the airtime
and you're doing it to be, because no one knows for sure. Now I think some people do have a good idea, like obviously JoJo and Jordan, they made it and that's great. And like, Rachel and Brian, like they have a good idea and they think they want to be together forever, but it's hard to know then. So you're like, okay, well, let's do it. And then, we'll figure out everything else. Like, as soon as they get like normal people, when you get engaged, your plan is to be engaged for a year or year and a half and start working towards the wedding, start picking dates, things like that. And these people never pick dates within the first year or two.
Soon after. Right. That's true.
So it's
except Crystal and Goose.
And then look how that turned out.
Yeah, I don't even think they got real married, but they like immediately. There are a couple of them, and those are like the red flag relationships where they're like, we're starting to plan our wedding right now.
The day after. But yeah. So it'll be interesting to see which couples do the engagement thing next week.
I'm more looking forward to after the final rose, reunion, Bachelor in Paradise, whatever they call it. I'm excited. That's always my favorite part of the season.
Is it?
Yeah, I know a lot of people, maybe that's a controversial opinion, but a lot of people don't like it because it's like stage drama, but I love it.
I mean, I like to see what
you get to rehash
is now.
Everything. Yeah, you get to find out, are they still together?
Yeah.
Because that's what I'm always looking for. I'm trying not to be spoiled. I've successfully not been spoiled. But in past seasons where I'm like super into the spoiler culture, I'm like looking for all the hints of like who's still together and stuff. So it's just fun to like see what's happening in the present. So I'm excited for that.
I like that part too. I'm excited for that as well because, I mean, it's always fun to see who gets engaged and everything. But then it's like, okay, but who's actually still together?
Yes.
So can't wait for that.
Probably none. They all broke up, I bet.
No, there's got to be at least one couple that's still together.
I hope so. All right. Well, we made it under 2 hours.
Under 2 hours, we made it. Thanks
right,
for listening, everybody. You can find us on all podcast platforms. Make sure to leave a review on Apple Podcasts. And
yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah, that'd be nice just to tell people you like our podcast. Yeah. Other people
follow us on Instagram.
Follow us on Instagram at Far From Hometowns.
Maybe on Twitter, but I don't think we put anything on there.
Yeah, I don't really like Twitter, so I always forget about Twitter.
Yeah.
Me too. Yeah, maybe we'll post something this week in honor of the prom episode in our prom dresses.
Oh, that'd be fun. You can see me at my prime.
Yes, so head over there if you want to see that, and we'll talk to you next week.
Bye.
Bye.